Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this particular video, we're going to talk about is it worth investing into BlackRock, ticker symbol BLK. Okay, and why we are focusing on this particular stock here is because on the 14th of January, depending on when you're watching this video, I'm actually recording it right now on the 13th, so just a day before it. On 14th of January, there will be an earnings release. Okay, and I thought, what we're gonna do over here for this year is I'm gonna talk about a specific stock where that week there will be an earnings release, and then we'll focus on it. Okay, and I'll share with you whether it's worth investing into it. Is it worth focusing and looking to participate in the particular stock? Okay, so for this week here, one of the most important, I would say, company for this week's earnings will be on BlackRock. So we are looking at that particular company. Okay, so a quick disclaimer over here, I'm not a licensed financial advisor, so don't take this as kind of like an suggestion or even recommendation into whether you should be investing or trading into this particular company. But what I want to do over here is through this video to share with you the entire process, the thought process more importantly, the system, the steps, and perhaps some of the ideas, insights into why I'm looking at BlackRock, okay, why I have that perspective into it. Hopefully it will benefit you in your own investing journey as well. Okay, and of course, a quick disclaimer here, I've already been investing in BlackRock. I have positions in that. But I'll share with you more importantly is moving forward, is it worth investing into it? What are some of the price points that perhaps you'd like to pay attention to get involved if this is something that fits into your investment portfolio as well. So with that, let's dive straight in, and I'll share with you my screen to give you a better understanding as to what are some of the things that I look out for, and from there, maybe you have a much better understanding, right? So with that, let's dive into my screen. Okay, so first off here, I would like to share with you that I look into multiple factors, angles when I analyze and of course invest in the company. So not just from a technical point of view or just the fundamental perspective. Okay, so I look into macro sector analysis, seasonality, fundamental, and of course what are some of the drivers that can push my investment into it. Okay, so before I dive into the technical, where many people are very interested in, okay, just want to quickly introduce to you some of the potential drivers on BlackRock. Okay, it's one of the largest asset fund manager company, okay, globally. So that's why it's actually pretty popular, right? But perhaps some of you are not aware of this company. You'll be able to quickly do a simple Google search to understand it, right? So some of the drivers over here, of course, is a lot of banks have positive kind of like forecast for this asset fund manager or fund management company, BlackRock, right? So if you just take a look at this article over here, this was released this week itself on the 11th of January. So Morgan Stanley has raised their forecast. Okay, if you look into it, okay, they basically talk about they are positive on it, right? And not only on Morgan Stanley, right? You can see here Citigroup has also raised their target price, and that's where you can see also like 9 analysts who offered this stock rating in the last 3 months. For the average 12 months is at 755. They has raised their forecast to 835. Okay, and none of them actually put a sell call on BlackRock. So generally the consensus on this is pretty positive. Okay, a lot of them have positive outlook on this company. Of course, I don't just base on what others are saying. Hey, but from this angle here, you do see that if general consensus from all these analysts here are positive, okay, that builds up the sentiment on this particular company called BlackRock. Another recent news, of course, is BlackRock is also looking to enter the sphere of crypto. Okay, so you can see the headline here is BlackRock is looking to hire blockchain VP with the experience of crypto asset. And I feel that this is important because as a kind of like asset fund manager, crypto is the next big thing, right? A lot of kind of like focus headline right now recently is in crypto, especially at Bitcoin. Okay, and I think this can be another interesting driver for BlackRock when they start venturing into the crypto sphere. Okay, so that's the main driver that I'm seeing. Okay, now let's quickly dive into the fundamental perspective of this company as well. So I do look at both quantitative, qualitative. Of course, just now what I just done was some qualitative basis on whether BlackRock has a driver, has a potential to push higher. Okay, the quantitative is actually pretty straightforward, right? I do have a system over here where right now, based on the latest update, BlackRock has a 16 points out of 21. Okay, and you can see right now the needle is in the green territory, which means to me is when I look at this, okay, and as long as it's within the green territory, is a no-brainer, solid company that I'm willing to invest in it. Okay, so BlackRock, as of the latest quantitative update scoring, is at 16. Okay, so to me it's a no-brainer, it's good to invest. Fundamentally, this is a solid company. Okay, so what I do also is I've done up a quick valuation on this. Okay, so you see over here on this spreadsheet, I do have various model, but for me, when I'm looking at BlackRock, I'm more towards dividend investing. Okay, so I'm looking at whether this company is giving me solid, consistent dividend, and is there an opportunity where they can improve and grow the dividend payout. Okay, so that's what I'm interested in. Okay, so I'll be definitely looking at the dividend discounted model, not so much on like DCF or even Graham's number. Okay, so you can ignore that, and from here you can see BlackRock pays out an annual dividend of $14.52. Okay, so I'm not too much interested in the yield. Okay, because to me the yield is just how much dividend is paying off compared to the price that the market is trading right now. Okay, and that can fluctuate greatly depending on the current market price. Okay, so to me the yield is not so important, but more importantly is the consistency of the payout. Okay, is there a potential growth in the dividend? And that to me is actually more important. Okay, so you realize that when I kind of like do the valuation of this, there's no such thing as the yield or the dividend yield. Okay, so now based on right now the current market price of BlackRock is trading at $777.74. Okay, and based on historical performance on their dividend growth rate, okay, it's averaged about close to 12.95%. Okay, so that's the expected growth rate that I put in based on the next 10 years. So we are expecting about maybe 12.95% growth of dividend for the next 10 years, and eventually I don't expect it to sustain that kind of growth rate. So the terminal growth rate of it right now after 10 years I've input here is 5%, which is pretty decent, right? Assuming that the average GDP growth in the US is about 3%, so I expect this company to outperform it a little bit. So the terminal growth rate here is 5%, and for me, I'm expecting a return, okay, including of course dividend here, is 8% annual. Okay, so pretty average, and I think it's quite conservative. Okay, now with that input, okay, the model here tells me that the current intrinsic value or the fair value of BlackRock is actually at $982.86. So comparing with the current market price, right now the current market price is still at, you can see over here, 26% discount. Okay, so if you put into the perspective of you go to shopping mall looking for discount items, and BlackRock right now is at a 26% discount. Okay, based on this model of valuation. Now, if I were to be a little bit more conservative, and let's say I drop that expected dividend growth down to just 10% per year for the next 10 years, then you realize that we are about right now fair value. Okay, so this is where you can see, depending on how the dividend growth rate is going to play out, the valuation will fluctuate. Okay, so again, this is a little bit of estimation, and depending on how conservative you are, okay, but to me, it's good. Okay, so I'll be basing on what it has been doing statistically, which is 12.95, and that's where I get this valuation. Okay, so immediately from this information, I know at the back of my head, okay, right now it's pretty good at a discounted price. Even if I'm being very conservative and I drop that dividend growth rate to 10%, okay, I am still at fair value. So that's a good information that I would like to know. Okay, and from there, that's why I go into the technical point of view. Okay, now a quick disclaimer here, I've been investing in BlackRock since somewhere down at $400+. Okay, so I'm out right now in this position. I'm up about 60+%. Okay, so that's a quick disclaimer. So I wouldn't be rushing into initiating another position. Okay, but I am overall very, very happy with BlackRock. Okay, so that's a quick disclaimer. Will I be looking to invest or enter another position? Perhaps. Okay, so I need to analyze and assess my entire portfolio. But the focus for this video here is BlackRock. The reason is because we do have an earnings report coming in on the 14th of January. Okay, and I thought I would like to focus on this, not really as an investment call again, as I mentioned. Okay, but it's more of like giving you the insights as to what are some of the process, what are some of the things that I look into when I analyze a company. Okay, so from a technical point of view, I'm using mainly Elliott wave principle, but at the same time for stocks, I'm also looking at volume profile to kind of identify where are the areas where I see a huge activity coming in. Okay, and based on this, you can see this is where the huge volume profile comes in, and this zone here, I've highlighted it. Okay, and that's where you can see this is the price zone between around $693 to $718. Okay, right now it's trading around 777.74. Okay, so what does this mean is, of course, if you are from a technical point of view, you'll be perhaps waiting for price to come back down, okay, towards this zone here around 693 towards $718 for you to start accumulating on that. Okay, and if price were to drop back down here, of course, based on valuation model, it's even more at the discount. Okay, so that's good news. Okay, but the question here is, of course, will price come back down? Okay, and that's where I also come back and study historically what are some of the recurring patterns that tends to happen in this particular company. Okay, and that's where we call seasonality. So based on historical patterns, this is what it tends to happen on BlackRock. Okay, between 15th of Feb to 16th of March. Okay, and just like to give you the idea that this is based on 15 years in the past. Okay, so that's a 15 years data. Based on the 15 years data, between 15th Feb to 16th of March, there's a very high chance that BlackRock price is gonna fall. Okay, so you can see here there's a 60% probability that the price will drop. Okay, and the average drop here is about 4.21%. Okay, so right now when I'm recording this, and the earnings is gonna release on the 14th of Jan, so you have about maybe 1 month before we come into this season. And if you take a look at that, right? Okay, let me do a very quick price measurement. A 4% drop from where we are right now give us about, like, assuming, you know, it's just gonna stay where it is for the next 1 month. Okay, a 4% drop is gonna bring us back towards around $744. Okay, that's the average. Okay, it can be bigger, it can be small. Okay, so the idea here is then, knowing all this information, if I were to initiate a position, okay, I wouldn't be initiating right now because I know that perhaps if I be a little bit patient and wait until, let's say, around 15 Feb to 16 March, that 1 month window of period, where there's a high probability of price falling, okay, I'll be focusing my entry during that period. Okay, and I will be looking at fundamental, the valuation, the technical. Is it still worth entering? Okay, so my entry window, or I would say the period where I'm gonna focus to initiate perhaps another position on BlackRock, okay, will be between 15th Feb to 16th of March, okay, and not right now, okay. So I don't trade the earnings, okay. I don't invest just because the earnings is coming out, but I'm utilizing the earnings date right now over here in this year to highlight some of the companies, to kind of like, you know, the stock to focus on, to bring you through this journey, this process, and hopefully you'll be able to pick up some insights here and there, right? Whether is it from a technical point of view, fundamental point of view, seasonality point of view. That's the intention, okay? Not really as a trade call or an investment call, but you know, using a case study to share with you on that. Okay, so to sum up a little bit, okay, to give you a good summary on this, I'm personally bullish on BlackRock. Okay, I am investing in it based on dividend. I think it has a huge potential on its dividend. Okay, if you take a look at its payout ratio, okay, it's only about 47%, which means also it has more room for BlackRock to continue grow its dividend. And you know, looking at the fundamental, looking at the potential driver, I think there is still huge potential to that. And if you take a look at the technical point of view, of course, it's right now at the all-time high. It can still go higher. Okay, and looking at the seasonality point of view, 15 Feb to 16 March, that window period would be a good time to consider and pay attention to this particular company here. And you might find maybe price coming down. You might get in at a much better rate, much better discount. Okay, so that's a quick summary. I hope, you know, in this video here, I'm able to provide you some insight, some educational value. And of course, if you like such video, you benefited from it, I would really appreciate if you can give it a thumbs up, like this video. And if you have yet to subscribe to this channel, again, I will always encourage you to subscribe to it. Click onto the notification button because I will release video on a timely basis, and you wouldn't want to miss out on those videos, right? So you need to click onto the notification button so whenever I release it, you'll be notified on YouTube. And of course, if you have any questions, you have anything you'd like to give suggestions about, or perhaps any topics, right, related to finance, trading, investing, feel free to drop it in the comments below, right? And from there, I know, you know, I have a better idea what are some of the contents that you guys would like to watch, and then I'll be able to produce those videos to fit your requests. Okay, so again, I hope you benefited from it. Okay, do check out some of the links below if you'd like to understand more about this whole process, some of the surveys, some of the courses and trainings that I provide as well. With that, okay, I'll end off this video over here, and I wish you guys all the best for your investing journey in 2021. See you.